Rome, a city shrouded in legend. Its origins, a captivating tale of ambition, conflict, and ultimately, survival. In the heart of Italy, on the banks of the Tiber River, Romulus, the legendary founder of Rome, established a sanctuary for refugees and outcasts. The fledgling city, however, faced a critical challenge, a scarcity of women. This shortage threatened the very future of Rome, hindering its growth and prosperity. Without wives and mothers, the continuation of the Roman lineage seemed precarious. Romulus and his advisors recognized this threat to their nascent civilization. They sought brides from neighboring communities hoping to forge alliances and secure their future. Diplomatic envoys were dispatched to surrounding settlements, carrying with them promises of peace and prosperity. The Romans believed their offer of citizenship and a stake in their burgeoning city would be enticing. However, their pleas were met with scorn and rejection. The neighboring tribes viewed the Romans as a band of outcasts and criminals. They saw no appeal in uniting with such a group. The Sabines, a proud and prosperous people, were among those who refused the Romans' proposal. They feared the growing power of Rome and wanted no part in its future. This rejection was a blow to Romulus and his people. Their hopes for a peaceful integration into the region seemed to be crumbling. Faced with the prospect of their city's demise, the Romans were forced to contemplate a desperate plan. They decided to take matters into their own hands. A daring and controversial solution began to take shape in their minds. This solution would forever alter the course of Roman history, leaving a dark stain on the city's origins. The Romans, desperate to ensure their survival, decided to resort to abduction. The Romans devised a cunning plan to abduct women from neighboring tribes during a grand festival dedicated to the god Neptune Equester. This festival, known for its athletic games and religious ceremonies, attracted vast crowds from surrounding regions, including the Sabines. The Romans saw this as an opportunity, a chance to seize what they had been denied. Preparations for the festival began in earnest. Romulus and his people extended invitations far and wide, ensuring that the celebration would be a spectacle to behold. They planned elaborate games, feasts, and sacrifices, hoping to entice their neighbors into a false sense of security. The Romans, masters of deception, concealed their true intentions beneath a veneer of hospitality. As the day of the festival arrived, the city of Rome overflowed with visitors. People from neighboring communities, including the unsuspecting Sabines, flocked to the city, eager to witness the spectacle. The atmosphere was electric, filled with excitement and anticipation. The Romans played the part of gracious hosts, welcoming their guests with open arms and warm smiles. Little did the visitors know that they were walking into a carefully orchestrated trap. The festival commenced with great fanfare. Athletic competitions tested the strength and agility of young men, while religious ceremonies honored the gods. Music filled the air, and dancers captivated the crowds with their graceful movements. Amidst the revelry and celebration, the Romans patiently awaited their moment to strike. Their eyes, however, remained fixed on their targets, the unsuspecting Sabine women. The tension in the air was palpable. As the festivities reached their peak, a prearranged signal rang out across the festival grounds. It was the cue the Romans had been waiting for. In a sudden and swift motion, they broke from the crowd and rushed towards the Sabine women. Chaos erupted as the Romans seized their targets, tearing them away from their families and loved ones. The air filled with screams of terror and confusion. The unsuspecting Sabine women, taken completely by surprise, struggled against their captors. They fought back with all their might, their cries for help echoing through the chaotic scene. However, the Romans, driven by desperation and a single-minded purpose, were relentless in their pursuit. They overwhelmed the women, carrying them off towards the safety of their city walls. The abduction was swift and brutal, a testament to the Romans' desperation and their willingness to go to any lengths to secure their future. The festival, once a symbol of unity and celebration, descended into chaos and violence.
The Sabines, outraged and grief-stricken, watched helplessly as their daughters, sisters, and mothers were stolen from them.
The Romans' actions had shattered the peace and ignited a firestorm of anger and resentment that would soon engulf the region. The Romans, their prize secured, retreated back to their city with the abducted Sabine women in tow. They had achieved their objective, but at a terrible cost. Their actions had sown the seeds of war, and they knew that the Sabines would stop at nothing to avenge the humiliation they had suffered. The aftermath of the abduction was a scene of devastation and despair. Families were torn apart, their cries of anguish echoing through the desolate festival grounds. The Sabines, reeling from the shock and humiliation, grappled with the enormity of their loss. Their anger towards the Romans burned with an intensity that threatened to consume them. Word of the abduction spread like wildfire throughout the region, igniting outrage among the neighboring tribes. The audacity of the Romans, their blatant disregard for the sanctity of the festival and the laws of hospitality, shocked and appalled the surrounding communities. The Sabines, determined to seek vengeance for the heinous act, rallied their allies to their cause.
We will not rest until we have avenged this grave injustice. The Romans will pay for their treachery.
The Romans, aware of the impending storm, prepared for the inevitable retaliation. They fortified their defenses, anticipating a fierce and bloody conflict. They knew that the Sabines, renowned for their military prowess, would stop at nothing to reclaim their women and exact revenge. The city of Rome, once a beacon of hope for its inhabitants, now stood as a fortress bracing for a siege. Inside the city walls, the abducted Sabine women were in a state of fear and uncertainty. Torn from their homes and families, they were now prisoners in a foreign land.
We are caught between two worlds, neither of which feels like home anymore.
The Romans, attempting to quell any resistance, treated their captives with a mixture of force and reluctant respect. They knew that the fate of their city rested on their ability to pacify the women and integrate them into Roman society. The abduction of the Sabine women enraged the Sabine men. They could not let this atrocity go unanswered. Under the leadership of their king, Titus Tatius, they prepared for battle.
This act of treachery will not go unpunished. We will reclaim our daughters and bring justice to Rome.
The Sabines, driven by a thirst for vengeance and justice, marched towards Rome, ready to engage in a fierce battle. As the conflict raged on, Hersilia, the wife of Romulus, saw the destruction and suffering it brought to both sides. She knew something had to be done to stop the bloodshed.
Enough! This war brings nothing but sorrow and loss. We must find a way to end this conflict and bring peace to our people.
Hersilia's bravery and determination led her to step between the warring factions, pleading for an end to the violence. With Hersilia's intervention, a fragile peace began to take shape. The leaders of both sides knew that continued fighting would only lead to more devastation.
We must listen to Hersilia. This senseless war must end for the sake of our people.
I agree. Let us find a way to coexist and build a future where both our peoples can thrive.
And so, with heavy hearts but hopeful spirits, the leaders of Rome and the Sabines laid down their weapons, choosing to forge a new path together.
We found ourselves in a strange land, yet we were not treated as strangers. Over time, we became part of the Roman society, our lives intertwined with theirs.
The Sabine women, initially abducted, gradually became integral to Roman culture. Their influence extended beyond mere assimilation. They played pivotal roles in shaping the early Roman society. Throughout history, the story of the Sabine women has been immortalized in various forms of art and literature. From ancient sculptures to Renaissance paintings, their tale has inspired countless artists and writers. Each rendition reflects the values and perspectives of its time, portraying the women as symbols of peace, sacrifice, and resilience. Historians have long debated the events surrounding the abduction of the Sabine women. Some view it as a mythological tale, a foundational story for Rome's origins. Others see it as a reflection of the complex dynamics between early Roman and Sabine societies. Regardless of interpretation, the narrative remains a crucial part of Rome's storied past. The legacy of the Sabine women is one of unity and conquest. Their actions, their courage, and their integration into Roman society set the stage for Rome's future expansion and dominance. The story serves as a reminder of the power of unity and the enduring impact of cultural assimilation in shaping civilizations.